Okay, let's get into it. Just wanted to go over my weekly recap trading session. As you guys know, I really like to step away from the charts on the weekends, have a mental reset, focus up, clarity, all that good stuff. So I'm going to get this out to you folks fairly early. I do all my pre-market planning and analysis and charting for the following week at the end of market close on Fridays. I really like to use my weekends to reset. So, that being said, let's get into it. Also, thanks for the love, support. I'm getting a lot of attraction. Really do appreciate it. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Don't forget to do so. Something that I've been saying is, I'm giving free game, free education, free game, the exact same trades. I said this last time. The exact same trades that you see here today, and even my trades that I've taken last week, are the exact same trades that I'm giving you on my pre-market game plans every single day, right? Every single day. So that being said, let's get into it. Now, fairly a slow week for me, and I will explain why. I've been doing my best to really teach you folks market structure. So let's get into it, just so we can understand why it was fairly a slow week overall on the market. So something that I've been saying is, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago and this week, we've been starting the week off with a gap up. We started 2 weeks ago off with a gap up. So what did we do all last week, which was healthy? We pulled back. We filled all these gaps. We filled all this thin volume, right? Buyer stepped up aggressively and shot this thing higher. Now, what does history like to do? Repeat itself. Unfortunately, this week we gapped up. That's a big gap. So what do we do the last 2 days? Pulled back, filled all the gaps, the thin volume, right? Straight up. I'm sorry, straight down equals straight up. We did that. And then what do we do again 2 Fridays in a row? Heavy buyers step up, defending this thing and push this thing higher. So you can clearly see, we're trending higher, the dip is your friend, all that good stuff. But it slows up things a little bit when we start the entire week off with gapping up to the upside on the overall market, because we know eventually this market has to pull back and fill its gaps. And that's exactly what we did. Now, why was it a slow week? This is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. What do? We just sat in a channel in between the previous day high and the previous day low. So I can't expect continuation on my plays if the overall market itself is sitting sideways. Something that I've always said, no matter what system, what edge you trade, you have to know the pros and cons to your system. And what are the cons to the break and retest, consolidation, and channels? Why? Because lack of follow through, lack of continuation. So I'm understanding that coming into the market on Monday saying, okay, we gapped up again, and now we're sitting in a channel, right? So I'm going to take my foot off the gas a little bit here. So let's get into it. First trade of the week was Apple. And honestly, a thing of beauty. Apple was really our main name this week that gave us a lot of setups. I only took one trade off of Apple this week because the other 2 days that it set up, I did not get a deep enough pullback. And something that I always say is I'm a risk manager before I am a trader. So that being said, let's look at Apple here on the daily. Now, as we know, and something I've been saying in the past is out of every tech name, Apple honestly looks the best on the daily. This is clean and clear market structure, right? Continuation, consolidation, what comes next? Next leg higher, consolidation, what comes next? Next leg higher. So Apple looks super, super solid. So the entire game plan this week, as it was last week, we're just looking for a long over 271.40 or a pullback long off this 264.05 because we ended up breaking this level, but we haven't got that retest. So still waiting for that. You can see that is beautiful market structure. That is just the dip at your friend, targeting all-time highs. But this week, our only key level we've been taking trades off of and looking at is this 271.40. Now that we got that broken down and I'm explaining to you my thesis, right? Let's go here on Monday. Beautiful. We ended up getting a solid break, retest, and then continuation higher. Now let me go here on the 2 minute just so I can explain to you a little bit more thoroughly, how I managed this trade, what I was looking at, and so on. Now, I did my absolute best to really hold this trade. Did my absolute best to hold this trade. Go watch the live trading session on Monday, and you would see exactly my entries, my exit, and how I got in here. And we did a really beautiful job, trusting our level, where we ended up getting a break and retest right off our key level, good displacement, candle closure, pull back, a buyer step up aggressively, and I went long. So you can see here on TradeZella, I was roughly in this trade for 10 minutes. As we know, it's a Monday. I'm trading one strike price out of the money on Apple. The underlying moves very slow. So I know it's not going to be a big momentum gain or a big return, even though, I was looking for that. I tried it. So as you know, I don't set profit targets, all that good stuff. I let market tell me when to exit. I let market structure tell me when to exit. Now, there's something I'm noticing here. If you look at here on the 5 minute, we ended up getting this push into the previous day high, seller step in. We get this push again into the previous day high, seller step in. And this wick here shows you, right, that price actually pushed down to here and then we rallied up. So I was sitting here on this candle. This is when I scaled out 90% of my position. We went red to green. I'm thinking to myself, okay, we swept the previous day high's liquidity. They're really defending this level. I can't ignore that. I cannot ignore that. After I sold 90% of my position, we ended up getting this big rip. No regrets. I managed my trade perfectly, in my opinion. The market's telling me, hey, Kel, there's heavy sellers sitting here. Don't force this. So I sat in the trade roughly 10 minutes looking for that breakthrough. I waited for my 5 minute candle to form here, and we ended up going red to green. Go watch that live trading session. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we got that push up there. So let me go here on the daily, right? Let me go here on the daily, extend left, and you can see, right, wicks pushing up into here. Sellers was definitely defending this level on the intraday 2 days in a row. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we'll just have a daily double top. You can clearly see here, there's been some resistance up here. There's been some resistance, 3 weeks in a row. So I have that in the back of my mind as I'm trying to manage this trade and hold for continuation targeting all-time highs. So fortunately, didn't really get that big move, but really good trade, really good trade. Solid base hit to start the week off. Very happy with this trade. And as you can see, we ended up selling off. Today, Monday was one of those days where, hey, Apple broke. We got the retest, but, it didn't hold. So very happy with it. I planned my trade. I traded my plan, took my shot, managed this perfectly, in my opinion. I really tried to hold this, looking for continuation, but I'm not going to force that. I scaled out, and as you can see, we ended up getting that push into a high day. and we did not hold. We just ended up selling off. So nothing you could do about that. But that was really our game plan going into Monday. So very happy with that. So, 2 cash days in a row. On the 11th was Veterans Day. Banks were closed, so it really wasn't much going on. So that was a cash day for me on Wednesday. Nothing really going on. Like I said, the 3 days in a row. I'll go back here to the Qs for you. 3 days in a row, right? The overall market was just doing this. This is Qs. It's just doing that. It's not continuing higher or it's not continuing lower. Remember, if price is sitting in between the previous day high and the previous day low, on a technical standpoint, it is not continuing higher or lower. You got to understand that. So I'm understanding this like, okay, today's just one of those days, right? We're waiting, we're seeing. Hopefully, we can hold to 617, continue higher, which we did end up doing on Wednesday, but we fell. And when we fell, I saw this as, okay, we're just filling the gap. We're just filling the gap, and that was on Thursday. So, I had 2 days understanding market conditions. Every day I come into the market, I'm not looking for a trade. I let my trades come to me. So, some of the best traders can show up every day and do absolutely nothing. Right? Absolutely nothing. Not every day is a trading day, and I understand that. So, very happy to display my patience here. Just 2 cash days in a row, understanding market conditions, context, and not forcing anything. Now, beautiful. I'm very happy with this trade on the Qs. Now, something I'll get into is, I trade zero DTEs very, very differently from trading, weekly cons. The reason for that being, I don't care what anyone says, it's a fact that if as soon as you enter a trade on a zero DTE, you're already at a disadvantage. You're already at a disadvantage. The reason for that being is because you don't have time on your side. As we know, we don't know what can happen when we enter a trade. Trading is all probabilities, not certainties. So if I enter a trade on a zero DTE, right, I got theta against me, this thing can consolidate, and I'm speaking from experience. I've taken trades with zeros, and I've sat in it for 15, 20 minutes, and I'm red, or the trade starts going in my favor, and I'm still red, or I'm slightly green. So if you know me, you know how I trade. If I'm trading a zero DTE, I'm looking to get in and get out and sell until momentum pushes. So it's all perspective. I just want to hit on that because, sometimes people tell me you could have held and made more. I promise you, it'd be very hard for you to be a consistently profitable trader if you have the mindset of, I could have made more. Never have that mindset. I believe there's no such thing as a perfect buy or a perfect sell. So I treat zero DTEs as a scalp. And it's all perspective. For me to make, 7% return on my investment within a minute, that's a great day for me. I understand the conditions. I understand that, hey, this is Qs. We're pulling back, we're filling the gap. I want to see strong buyers step up at my key level, and I'm gonna take my shot. So that's exactly what I did. So let's get into the chart and break this down a little bit more thoroughly. So here we are here on Thursday, and something I want to say is, this takes time. I only trade with the overall time frame, right? We're bullish bias. I'm understanding that. And when you see this, right, the average trader is thinking, okay, let me look to short, or the overall market is tanking, or we're pulling back, all these big things, or you're probably thinking, oh, we're bearish now. But I'm understanding, right, that hey, we're finally, one sec, we're finally filling the gap. That's how I'm looking at this. So I'm looking for a pullback long off my 612.80, and that's exactly what I did, right? Pullback long, 212.80, beautiful shot. I'm very happy with that trade. The reason for that being is I'm understanding, hey, if we give up the 617.20, I understand that the overall market is just filling this gap. We spent 3 days defending this level and doing really nothing. So if we give up this level, it's just a gap fill. This is healthy. This is market structure. So I'm understanding that. I take my shot on Thursday, and honestly, this is beautiful, right? It takes time to, hey, this is a falling knife. And I understand market conditions and I understand market structure. And even though this is a falling knife, I'm looking to go long. Like I said, all my trades, you can go watch my live trading session and you'll see that all these are broken down there. So very happy with this trade. I sold into the momentum push. Like I said, I treat zero TTEs as scalps. I'm not looking to be greedy. I'm not looking to overstay my welcome and try and milk this thing as much as possible. I understand that, hey, if this thing goes against me, I can be down just as much. So just be cautious with that. I really wanted to hit on that, on how I trade zero DTEs versus weekly cons, right? Look how quick, we made 6% or 7% on a momentum push on a zero DTE compared to sitting in Apple for 10 minutes, and that comes out to a base hit. So I treat zero DTEs very, very different. We sold into this big momentum push. I'm very happy with that trade. So beautiful execution. Plan your trade, trade your plan. And the game plan here coming into Thursday was either a pullback long off the 617.20, or we fill this gap in a pullback long off the 612.80. Very happy with that. Like I said, history likes to repeat itself. So the way I'm looking at this coming into Thursday is, okay, I know I'm bullish biased. The trend is my friend. 3 days in a row. You can clearly see here, 3 days in a row, buyers have really defended to 617.20. We pulled back 3 times. So what am I looking for going into Thursday? The same thing. I know I'm bullish bias. I know I'm not looking to short. So I'm looking for that. If you watch my pre-market plan video leading into this day, I said be very careful looking for a long off the 617.20. Why? Because if we fill that level, we're just filling the gap. So just be very careful. You want to see buyers step up. And that's what I'm seeing, 3 days. So am I going to come into Thursday looking for a short or anything like that? Absolutely not. I know history likes to repeat itself. I want to see buyers defend this. And if they don't, I want this gap to get filled. And I'm just looking for a pullback long off the 612.80. And that's exactly what we did. So very happy with this trade. Super solid shot. Like I said, I never have regrets on, hey, I could have held more or made more. On a zero DTE, I do not manage my trades the way that I would when I'm trading weekly cons, right? You can't. You're at a disadvantage as soon as you enter a trade with a zero. So that being said, very happy with this trade. Plan my trade, trading my plan. Super solid setup. Very, very happy. Now, let's get into the final trade, which was NVIDIA. This was today. Solid base hit. Beautiful, beautiful trade. I really want to break this down, right? I was in this trade barely a minute. I understand, hey, I'm playing a zero DTE on NVIDIA. Man, you got to understand the underlining of a tech name is going to move far more aggressive than the underlining on SPY and QQQ. So I know that. I'm understanding that. We had a morning squeeze. We popped to the upside. Why? Because all those retail traders that's looking to short this name is getting squeezed out of their positions for a loss. And what does that do? Fuels this move higher. So very happy. This was really a textbook play. Really a textbook play. This was right off my pre-market game plan. Let's go here to NVIDIA. want to start here on the daily and show you market structure, right? The trend is your friend, the dip is your best friend. Does this look like a name, right? That's bearish? Absolutely not. So something that I'm noticing, 2 weeks in a row, NVIDIA and Qs are in sync. All of last week, what did QQQ and SPY do? It filled this gap. So if you watch my pre-market game plan going into Monday, I said, I'm noticing, it's identical pretty much NVIDIA and Qs. So this entire pullback last week on NVIDIA, is that NVIDIA or is that Qs just pulling it back? As you can see, it was pretty much just Qs pulling it back. 2 Fridays in a row, buyers step up here on this 179.45 and push this thing higher. Last week, I'm understanding, hey, what happened? Buyers stepped up at 179 on the dot. We gapped up. So this is our candle from Monday. We came from 179 and we gapped up all the way to 200, right? That's what I mean when I say, hey, the trend is your friend and the dip is your best friend. You're looking to buy the dip. So for an example, if you caught a trade today on Friday down here again, man, you caught the perfect entry. Like I said, no such thing as a perfect buy or sell, but something that I've been preaching is, if we're trending, you want to be in a position down here before we get back to the top of this range. I want to be in a long position on the dip before I get back to all-time highs. So history likes to repeat itself. This is 2 Fridays in a row. So I'm understanding coming into each day, I'm not looking to short this name. Why would I? We're trending. So today, right off the pre-market game plan, 2 things that I'm looking for. Either a pullback long or break and retest off of 184.50, which is a key level here, or a break and retest over 190. Now, this is textbook. This is beautiful because, right, I know I'm bullish bias. I'm not looking to short this thing. So what happens in the morning? We get an instant dip to the downside. Knowing what I know, hey, this is a squeeze. This is a squeeze. These are retail traders getting squeezed out of their positions. We gap below. And what does that do? Fuels this move higher. So my entry today was pretty aggressive, but I understood how I was playing this, right? I was playing momentum here. So here, we got the retest. I'm sorry, we got the breakout, candle closure, displacement. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I played on this wick here, this instant retest. I understand I'm playing momentum. If it was a Monday or Tuesday, you guys know me. I'm looking for more displacement. I need something up here and then a pullback here. So today, like I said in my live trading session, if you missed this trade, you really didn't miss out because you never got the retest. But I understood, hey, Qs is rallying, NVIDIA is rallying. I'm playing momentum here on a zero. So I know this thing can really go in my favor. Let me break this down a little bit more thoroughly. Now, you can see today was a trendy day. I know when I'm coming into the day on the video or all these tech names that are trending to the upside and we're bullish bias, I'm not looking to short anything. So something that I've been teaching you is, hey, if we get a pullback or a gap fill or thin volume being filled to the downside, I see those as opportunities. The trend is your friend, the dip is your best friend. So I'm sure coming into market open today, a lot of people were bearish bias. Why? We gapped under the previous day low. Our first 4-minute candles straight downside. Everyone's thinking, oh, that's it. We're finally done. No, these are people getting squeezed. As I teach you, fuels this move higher. Now, the reason my entry was a little bit aggressive is because this, right? I waited for this candle to close and I took this instant retest here. I'm playing momentum, and we get this rally to the upside. Now, I got out of this fairly quick, and I want to explain to you why I managed to trade the way that I did. I'm playing momentum. So look, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I mean, this is straight upside. We're very extended. I understand that. We're very extended. One of these needs to occur, right? That retest needs to occur. I'm not targeting a swing high. I'm selling into the higher day push. I'm understanding market context and conditions. So I know in the back of my mind, okay, I'm playing momentum. We're very extended. This thing is rallying to the upside, and a pullback is needed. Now, never really got it all the way back down to our 184.50, which is fine, but that's how I'm thinking. So when I'm trading 0 TTE, I know I have to sell this thing into a momentum push. That's exactly what I did. I'm very happy the way that I did because I sold into this peak, and then we ended up pulling back, right? And on a 0 DTE, I can't afford to sit in all of that and then look for that continuation higher. With zeros, they need to work right away. So aggressive entry. But the reason that I took it, right, is one, I waited for decent displacement, not as much as I would on a regular basis, but I waited for my candle to close. I got this instant retest, buyer stepped up very aggressively, and I took my shot. Another thing that I always say is, remember, the deeper the pullback, the better. As long as I'm above 184.50, my thesis is correct. So if I'm wrong here, I'm wrong very quick. I'm wrong very, very quick. Now, let's get into it. Right, super solid trade. You can see here, I was barely in this trade for a minute. I traded this as a scout. I like that my sell was into the side day push because then we started to consolidate a little bit. I can't sit in that on a zero. So took it off a weekly level. I planned my trade. I traded my plan. It's all perspective. I never look at it as, hey, man, I could have made more. I left so much on the table. No, right? If you have that mindset of I could have made more, it's going to be very hard for you to be consistently profitable. For me, the way that I see it is I can't complain, right? For me, this is pretty much a one-to-one base hit, roughly 10%. That's a solid day. That's a solid way to end the week. Getting a 10% return on my investment in barely a minute, almost a $2,000 trade. I'm very happy with that. So it was a slow week, and I understood market context, I understood conditions. I know when to press the gas and when not to. So fairly happy, with my entries and my sales. Like I said, the only trade that I wish I can get back out of this month is Tesla, right? I botched that. Go watch that live trading session from last week or my weekly recap from last week, and I explained that a little bit more thoroughly. So solid week, base hits. Something that I try to explain is not every day is a trading day, right? Less is more. You don't need to make or to trade 5, 10 times throughout the week in order to make X amount, right? 3 base hits, over a little bit over 4,000 on the week. That's a solid week for me. I'm very big on execution, right? Plan your trade your plan. What do you notice here about my chart? One trade a day, win or lose, walk away. And something that I want to hit on before I wrap this up is, this is what I love about TradeZilla, because you can go to filters and look at things. We're in a bullish market. The trend is your friend, the dip is your best friend. So side, right? Short, look at that. I haven't shorted anything at all this entire month. Why would I? right? Why? The entire market is bullish. So just trying to show you this, like, hey, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I'm just looking for pullback longs. As long as this market is bullish and we're rallying to the upside and we don't break structure, I'm looking for pullback longs. Trading is all probabilities, and our job is to enter the highest probability setups. So why would I come into the market when we're bullish and we're trending, looking to short things, right? Those are low probability setups because you're counter trend trading. So hope this helps. Hope you're able to learn from this. Hope you're able to learn from the live trading sessions and whatnot. But let's keep this momentum going. I don't really care about win rates and percentage, but let's give ourselves a pat on the back. This is execution. This is being dialed in. 7 for 7. I can't complain about that. 2 weeks in a row, just showing up every single day, doing the exact same thing. So hope this helps. Let's keep the momentum going. Appreciate the love and support. Appreciate you guys. See you on Monday.